back. Hit that like button. Back, we back. We got to get hip. Gotta get hip to a recent indictment, man. Take a break from the nonsense. Let's get to the bottom of what the fuck going on with this Southern Poverty University Law Center. Is anybody familiar with Southern Poverty University? I never heard of them. But today we're gonna get familiar with them. See what the fuck going on, man. Cause they just been indicted. And the indictment is crazy. And I've been trying to, and I meant to cover this. I meant to cover this like 3 days ago. But with all the J Prince All-Star Junior shit was going on, I ain't get a chance to cover it. So I've been holding on to this paperwork for like 3 days, man. Sleep through my paperwork lady, man. Keep the flim-flam, man, coming through the paperwork. But I'm almost home. Probably like 2 minutes away. So yeah, let's cover this shit, see what the fuck going on. So I think it was a group designed to stop like racial injustice or hate, but they say that these niggas was fueling hate. Whistleblower came forward. So that they was fueling hate, paying the KKK. Man, one of the wildest indictments that nobody's talking about. These not in the urban sector. So we gotta figure out what the fuck going on. Is this indictment justified or is it something else? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna reserve my judgment because I don't know yet, because I ain't really looked into it. I just seen the clip of it and got my paperwork lady on top of it. Then I just clicked a couple videos so I can have it on my history. But I don't really know nothing about it for real. I just know the headline. They was fueling KKK. But we ready to see what the fuck going on. JB, I'm almost home, man. I was gonna wait to go and get in the house and go live, but I was thinking if I go in the house, I forgot I don't need to go live. So I said, let me go ahead and do that shit now. If I get home and get comfortable, end up waking up tomorrow. Like, God damn, you never do this shit. Yeah, we gotta get to the bottom of it, y'all. I know, y'all. I'm in the tow truck. I got the light on. I'm almost home though. I'll be home in like a minute. Not even a whole minute for real. Like 30 seconds. And make sure I hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Yo, they back killing our numbers again. It's like every couple months they allow us to get some shine, and then they fuck us over for like 3 months. You know what I mean? Then they might give us a month. You know what I mean? A month free. It's probably my fault though. I probably be saying shit I ain't supposed to say. Who knows? Who the fuck knows, man? Who knows what's really going on? Fall out. I don't know. Could be me. Could be them. I don't fucking know. I know one thing. We ain't stopping. You heard me. So, hope they don't think that's the case. We ain't stopping. weed. Hey, bro, you familiar with them? Is anybody familiar with Southern Poverty Center? Southern Poverty Law Center. I think that's the whole. I think that's the whole name. The fuck? Oh, I'm using the wrong key. It's a little chilly out this bitch. Oh, trying to got my damn juice. Is anybody familiar with the Southern Poverty Law Center? I know with all the J Prince mob tie shit going on. The shit probably got crowded in the algorithm. Well, people probably ain't gonna cover it. But you know this, it's my shit. I'm always down to expose the sellout. Always. Especially an organization that's selling us out. And I'm always down for that. Shit. I bet my motherfucking shirt dirty as a bitch. Always down to expose the sellout. Or organization selling us out. What's up, Ryan? Alright, so let's get to the bottom of these people, man. What these people is, man. Out here selling us out. So they got indicted like 3 days ago. Nobody covered it. Why the fuck this shit's fucking sideways? Now my computer acting stupid. Yeah, computer wanna act dumb. Shit fucking stupid, huh? Yeah, so we gotta get to the bottom of this organization. You know what I mean? Gotta get to the bottom of them, see what they about, see what's really going on. You know, cause some of these indictments would be misleading, yo. Like they'll put these stories out. And whole time they just trying to attack this group. And it ain't really valid. So that's why I ain't going in on them. But if it's valid, oh yeah, we going in on these niggas. Southern Poverty University is their name. Yo, what the fuck is wrong with my damn computer, man? That's the name, Southern Poverty University. My fucking computer's acting slow. Let me turn this bitch off. You stop. So we ready to learn about them today if people ain't already know about them. I got the indictment. In fact, let me send the indictment to my email because they not trying to let me get into my fucking Twitter. Hey Nico, don't start that shit. There we go. Motherfucker mouse be disappearing and shit. The fuck is that? All right, so let's get the rolling. My computer's still low. Southern. First, we're gonna find out who the fuck the person is. I think he a professor. I looked him up. I think he Who is the CEO of Southern Poverty University?
According to 1819news.com, the Southern Poverty Law Center is advertising a president and CEO job opening one day after the left-wing nonprofit was indicted by a Montgomery grand jury.
Brian Fair. Let's learn about y'all. Learn about Brian Fair first. Let me do it this way. All right, here you go. A beacon of hope. This is their mantra, y'all. They fight against hate and extremism. Let's check them out. Oh, they got a whole page. Let's check their page out first.
For 55 years, the Southern Poverty Law Center has stood as a beacon of hope, fighting white supremacy and various forms of injustice to create a multiracial democracy where we can all live and thrive. We are therefore unsurprised to be the latest organization targeted by this administration. They have made no secret of who they want to protect and who they want to destroy. For example, in October, FBI Director Kash Patel announced the Bureau would sever its ties with the SPLC. And in December, House Republicans held a hearing to accuse us of being partisan and profitable. The latest threat is the most serious: a criminal investigation and possible charges against the SPLC or some of our employees. Although we don't know all the details, the focus appears to be on the SPLC's prior use of paid confidential informants to gather credible intelligence on extremely violent groups.
Damn. What the fuck up? They had informants? These motherfuckers moving like a agency or something.
This use of informants was necessary because we are no stranger to threats of violence.
Yeah.
In 1983, our offices were firebombed. And in the years since, there have been countless credible threats against our staff. For decades, we engaged in unprecedented litigation to dismantle the Klan and other hate groups. In light of that work, we sought to protect the safety of our staff and the public. We frequently shared what we learned from informants with local and federal law enforcement, including the FBI. We did not, however, share our use of informants broadly with anyone to protect the identity and safety of the informants and their families. And while we no longer work with paid informants, we continue to take their safety seriously. These individuals risked their lives.
Now, why the fuck is they working with paid informants, though? How the fuck is they getting paid? I don't know. We're gonna let him rock out, man.
To infiltrate and inform on the activities of our nation's most radical and violent extremist groups. When we began working with informants, we were living in the shadow of the height of the civil rights movement, which had seen bombings at churches.
See, my thing is, right? All right. Then, hold on. We gotta get more details, man.
State-sponsored violence against demonstrators and the murders of activists that went unanswered by the justice system. There is no question that what we learned from informants saved lives. Today, the federal government has been weaponized to dismantle the rights of our nation's most vulnerable people, and any organization like ours that tries to stand in the breach. We stood in the vanguard then, and we stand in the vanguard today. We will not be intimidated into silence or contrition, and we will not abandon our mission or the communities we serve. This moment in history finds Americans in a critical struggle between those who continue to pull and bend the arc of history toward justice and those who resist progress. We will vigorously defend ourselves, our staff, and our work. We will continue to fight hate, and we will continue to seek a safer and more just world. We trust that the many people and organizations who share our commitment to defending civil society will stand with us as together we fight injustice. Thank you.
All right, let's get some more information on these guys, man. All that sounds great. So they got a whole page. That's what I want to know what they're about, yo, before we. The painful past perspective from the U.S. South. It was done delivery. Former officer, obstacle former prison system. Alabama fought something called ordeal over drug acquisitions. Who is funding this group? They talking about voting. Doing true private democracy. Mississippi. What's up, Ken? What is this? Trying to see what this group is about. So,
welcome to the Critical Memory Project Tour Day 1. We are here with our German guests to visit the Southeast and to connect with critical sites of memory that connect to the civil rights movement, but human rights more broadly. So coming to the Civil and Human Rights Museum in Atlanta as our first stop just made sense. We had a wonderful tour of the museum just 4 weeks before it's about to reopen. Later today, we're going over to Ebenezer Baptist Church. We'll listen to some folks tell us some stories about Dr. King and his family. We'll walk through Sweet Auburn, the district in which the King family was brought up in Atlanta. Then we'll be visiting the Carter Center. We have so much to do here. So excited about hosting the Germans at this particular time in the U.S. There's so much going on relative to the federal government's erasure of history. It's important that we know it, acknowledge it, and do all we can to preserve it now.
Why are they hosting Germans, though?
So as you're going up and looking at the pictures, I want you to really notice 3/4 of the labor were Black laborers. And a lot of these people lived in Shermantown. A lot of the men there worked in the quarries. And what's interesting is they had to have the worst jobs. They were using convict leasing in the granite quarries. It was just a new form of slavery that was permissible in the 13th Amendment because it says you're allowed to enslave prisoners. You did not own these people. You were renting them, and the state owned them. There was no problem killing them and working them to death because you were renting them and the state didn't hold you accountable.
Earlier today, we went to Stone Mountain, which has the maybe most famous Confederate monument in the world. And we, in Germany, prohibit, after the Nazi period, symbols of hate, of anti-Semitism, and so on. And here, in the open, in a state park, you have the largest Confederate monument in the world. That's somewhat beyond comprehension for someone from Germany. Not only are they still there, they are not contextualized in a critical sense. You have Confederate flags down there, you have statements and other memorial parts of this park that all defend and still celebrate the Confederacy.
You know, as a black man and seeing that they're honoring treasoners, I really have to put my mind around how something this large and massive can be created for individuals who literally tried to succeed from this union and create another country. Nowhere else in the world do they do that. It kind of rubs me the wrong way. It gives me a little bit of motivation, but it also allows me to understand how things like this can be erected if you are educating the right people in the wrong way.
What's powerful about living and working in Montgomery, Alabama is that I'm surrounded by the souls, the spirits of a hopeful generation, people who put on their Sunday best and went to places to push for the right to vote, the right to be seen and respected, and they got battered and bloodied and beaten. And they went home and changed their clothes and wiped the blood off, and they went back and did it again. I stand on the shoulders of people who did so much more with so much less. It would be dishonorable of me to be hopeless in this moment when we have so much. We're talking in a space that we own. We've created sites that I think have enormous power to help educate people. That was something that was denied generations before. We've always had to contend with voices that preach what I call the politics of fear and anger, because it's a very seductive way to govern. I just think it has led to the worst moment in human history, the Holocaust in Europe, the Rwandan genocide,
The worst moment in human history was the Holocaust? A black man said that? All right. Let's continue.
Moments when horrific abuse has been tolerated. There are
I know, y'all. They fucking us over,
what
y'all.
happened in Germany does not have to happen in the United States. I believe we have the capacity to keep it from happening, but that means we're going to have to push back the politics of fear and anger, the use.
See, I don't like when they try to mix slavery with the Holocaust. Like, yo, they don't belong in the same fucking sentence, man. Especially for a black person. Yo, that's a red flag to me. When the black people talk like this, red flag off the rip. Red flag. Not the same. Nowhere near the same. Don't deserve to be spoken in the same sentence. What they went through is what they went through. What we go through is what we went through. It's not mutually exclusive.
For political power will lead to authoritarianism, and it's not just in the United States that we've seen that. It's all across the globe. If we can overcome 246 years of enslavement, a century of terror violence, decades of racial segregation and Jim Crow, we can overcome the moment we are in when some people want bigotry and inequality to prevail. We can. I'm committed to being hopeful. To me, that is an orientation of the spirit. To me, we do not have the option to become hopeless, because hopelessness is the enemy of justice. Injustice will prevail where hopelessness persists. Our hope is our superpower.
Yeah, for real. Oh yeah, I don't like that, you know. I don't like when they do that.
For the people that are familiar with Somerset Place, most of those people have ancestors that remained on that place. But there is a subsection of those people who were marched out to Alabama.
There are 80 of them.
There were 80 of them. And we're descendants of people who were part of the 80.
Our ancestors came from the same plantation. Equal Justice Initiative had placed the 2 slave cabins from Fonsdale Plantation on Freedom Park. And I was very anxious to see them. Proud is a weird way of explaining that.
Walking inside of the cabins, I really did feel a sense of pride. I just kept thinking that people that we were descended from built things like this, that they still endure, that they are in this beautiful sculpture garden. I was walking in the footsteps of an ancestor, literally. I just want to enjoy this journey that the ancestors have me on. But I love that they have given me somebody to share their journey with.
I feel very close to you, even though I only know you what, 4 days or whatever it is.
I don't like that shit.
I think
I don't
that
trust
our
them.
story is
Anybody that speaks like that, I don't trust them, man. I don't trust them.
It's important for people to know because it happened in their family somehow. I encourage everybody to go and seek more information about your respective families and not to be afraid because the ancestors are pushing you that way.
We're actually on the outskirts of downtown Montgomery, where all of your settlements and your plantations were once located. We wanted to honor the ancestors, those men, women, and children that was sexually abused and trafficked and had to work from sun up to sundown. A lot of those women and men, they came with the genius of taking care of themselves through herbal remedies. And so what I want you all to do, y'all gonna help me prune over here. This is rosemary. It's good for your hair. It's good for your skin. I just need you to take you a good piece like this. We're going to do this together, right? Because you all need to be cleansed. But what I want you to do is take this piece, put it in your hand and cup it and wait for everybody to get one. But on the count of 3, we're going to cut up our hands and we're going to free ourselves for 1 quick minute. Is that okay?
Sunday best.
On the count of 3, a deep inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Everything's all right. Feel a little better?
What the fuck is this, man?
A lot of that anxiety?
I got one lip for the ass.
Right now, we're at the Mothers of Gynecology, learning about the history of enslaved African American women and how their bodies were used and abused to develop medical science in the United States.
At our state's capital, J. Marion Sims has been there since 1939. According to his memoir, Story of My Life, these plantation owners were coming to him because their chattel, these girls, were being raped, and they were also developing a vesicovaginal fistula, which is a hole in the bladder. He didn't want to deal with the female body. He didn't like dealing with the bladder, the vagina. He said it was gruesome. But a white woman fell off a horse, and he wanted to help her relieve her pain. After he saw how he was able to relieve the pressure, he decided that he would experiment on these girls. So I said, I'm going to wreck my own mother's gynecology. I'll tell their story. So this is them. Each one of them has an Adinkra symbol. Anarcha, who stands the tallest, she has a Ghanaian emblem that means God is supreme. Her head is tilted back. She's in a state of meditation and prayer. She had 30 surgeries, no anesthesia. Damn. This is Betsy. She's pregnant, 16 years old, no anesthesia. Lucy, 18 years old, no anesthesia. And on her 12th surgery, she cried out in agony and in pain. But this represents the fistula. And if you can see the rows, something did come out of this that's useful. The procedures that these girls actually helped perfect came from the operations of these girls, or for the experimentation.
The fuck, that ain't nothing to be fucking praised. That shit is fucking horrible. The fuck? I ain't like her presentation. Like, she started off strong, but I don't like how she ended that shit. Like, yeah, I don't think if they can do it all over again, I don't think they would want to be motherfucking test dummies or what you call them, guinea pigs. There was other ways they could have figured that shit out. You know, back then they used to say that, and I think doctors still believe this, that black women can endure more pain than white women. You know, that was a thing back then. Probably still a thing, for real. Black women still give births at higher rates without anesthesia, without an epidural, than other races of women.
Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, which tells a significant history of the Birmingham's contributions to the civil rights movement. Our galleries are established so that you are living the life that African Americans had to live during the segregation era. So you see how public transportation was, you see how schooling was, you even see how entertainment was for African Americans during this time period, and how the segregated South tried to treat them as second-class citizens. Site-based education is also very important because there's nothing better than to be in the actual place that these things occurred. And I hope that people continue to do that because these sites are losing funding. They're not getting the visitorship that they deserve. But as we teach the next generation about how things occurred in this country, we have to bring them into those spaces and let them see where it actually transpired. Later on, we'll get to see 60th Street Baptist Church. 60th Street Baptist Church was originally called the first colored Baptist church of Birmingham and was the first black church in this city. And because of that, it became a target. On September 15th, there was a tragic bombing that killed 4 little girls at 60th Street Baptist Church because of the activism that was going on in the city at the time. But that tragic event led to lasting change in our society as people were fed up with seeing young children die, especially at a safe place like church.
Wait, do that. Let's see something. We're gonna watch another video. Just so we can have some type of perspective. It looks like it's democratically ran.
There's no representation for African American as big as the population is. And it was done deliberately, and so how could you be an outstanding governor and leadership when you bring people in that you bring from out of state and say, how can you design this district so we can get rid of this Democrat? During slavery, most of the African American was along that North I-10 corridor. All those counties in there, Madison, Jefferson, Gaston, Leon, Columbia County, all the way down to Duval County. So after slavery, they all lived in that area, but they wasn't hardly getting any representation. And so I decided that I would run for Congress to see if I could make a change, a difference in the lives of those people. The people in CD5 were real excited because for the first time they felt like they had someone that was representing them. Because if you think about it, they had never had anyone since Reconstruction. So here I was, coming in, and I was able to communicate a great deal with the white population in there because they was always majority most of them.
Florida unfair voting
that I could really help them because they were not getting help.
So it's obvious this is democratically ran. Let's see if they talk about immigrants on here. What's their highest number video? Pablo. Oh, so they brought somebody else's page. Oh, it's one of them. They brought somebody else's page and turned it into what the fuck they turned it to. Cause this shit ain't got nothing to do with the stuff they talk about now. Oklahoma City bombing, extremism report, immigration reform.
I'm here today because we're releasing a report on a group known as FAIR, the Federation for American Immigration Reform, which is the longest lasting, the most important, and the largest anti-immigration group in this country. It has a long history of bigotry, of one-sided reporting, but in the very last year, it has gotten substantially worse. This is a group that was founded.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oklahoma City bombing. They had a different president 6 years ago. So when did they change? When did they let's see. When did this page change? Latest. 4 months ago. Cause this page wasn't all black. To live as an unhoused person. People share their stories about experiencing homelessness. So this page changed a year ago. Tried to pay trash bill, but went to jail instead. Behind the scenes. Cause an end for abuse of transgender. Yeah.
My name is Gabriela Amaya Cruz. I am a 26-year-old.
Black Lives Matter must be behind them. This a Black Lives Matter offspring. That's what this is. These people nah, they playing.
Transgender immigrant.
Or if they already fought, yeah, they playing. This ain't with.
From the moment I arrived to TGK, I knew from that moment that something was gonna go wrong.
Yeah, this some bullshit.
I have a physical disability called ectrodactyly, which is just a lack of fingers, and my fingers don't straighten out. When it came down to getting fingerprinted, it was just like a lot of excessive force. Even when I told them that it was painful and uncomfortable, it was just still just like very rough. They were discovering that I wasn't a cis woman. Their attitude towards me started to completely change. They transferred us to a little room, and it was two men that were taking me and all my belongings to a little room on the side. And they pointed at my wig, and they asked me, "Is that real?" And I'm like, "No, this is a wig." And they're like, "Does it come off?" And I'm like, "Yes, but please let me keep it on." Like, wigs for me are a huge form of my self-expression and my identity as a whole.
Then that's a man, y'all.
I basically begged him to let me keep the wig on. And then he goes, "Either you take it off yourself or we take it off for you and throw it away." I complied and took off my wig. They were going to pat me down. And I was like I said, there were two male officers. So I was like, I want a female officer to pat me down because I am a woman. And to my shock, his response was, "I don't care what you think, you're a man in here." And I took a step back and said,
"Yeah. All right, so I think I got understanding on what's going on. Yeah. How hate groups in the USA work to divide the country. Check this out. Active hate groups. Active anti-government groups. God dang, it's a lot. Where the fuck is they getting these numbers from? The hard right is breaking democracy. Oh yeah. This a political group. Alright, so they just got indicted. Let's listen to this indictment. And then we're gonna read it. I had to go through that though, so I can, so we can understand who the fuck they is. Where's the indictment? SPCL indictment. Where's the whole video at? Four days ago. Here it go. All right, let's check this out.
Thank you, Director Patel. With any questions?
Any questions?
I'd like to know why individual people are not mentioned in this indictment. Is that something that's going to come down the pike? Is this just an indictment of the entity? Can you
No, this ain't. I want to see
explain? Could people face charges here, or is it?
I want to see the whole video, man. I want to see the whole video. Fuck is that? Guess we got to settle for the this. I'm gonna read the paperwork anyway, so fuck it. That is strange. They ain't releasing names. Why wouldn't you release names? You release names when anything else going on. Man, you already know, T-Mac. You know that. I think I said something about the Jews recently.
Thank you, Director Patel. With any questions?
I'd like to know why individual people are not mentioned in this indictment. Is that something that's going to come down the pike? Is this just an indictment of the entity? Can you kind of explain, could people face charges here, or is this the indictment and you're done?
So, yes, I mean, as we said, the indictment, this investigation is very much ongoing. And today, the grand jury returned an indictment against only one entity, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and we'll go from there. But as you'll see from the indictment itself,
yeah.
It should be obvious from the indictment that the investigation is ongoing.
And I just want to make sure I understand. You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that?
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that.
Yeah, but they all do that. You know, in order to keep the business running, you gotta fuel the hate. It's a dirty system, yo. All of them, whatever you want to call them, groups operate that way. If how am I continue getting funding if hate isn't continued? You know what I mean? I gotta continue to hate for us to have even have a job. It's fucked up. It's a dirty system.
And so what the investigation found,
no, this is a while ago,
to the indictment that was returned today, is that they were paying. So the Southern Poverty Law Center
a week ago,
is raising money, asking folks to give them money to dismantle racism, and over a very long period of time, they were using some of the money they raised from donors to pay to, they call them field, basically to informants, for information, for access, to just pay them for certain to do certain things, and so yes, that's exactly what the indictment charges.
I was wondering if this is going to expand perhaps to more groups. Perhaps there's been a lot of accusations about particular groups like the Patriot Front that
what was wrong with the audio?
Get a lot of traction, and more so is the government, or is this indictment, I should say, making the case that some of these matters where they've tried at great lengths to sort of make connections to people on the right, per sense. I mean, Charlottesville was very much associated by the media with being sort of like part of a right-wing kind of thing. They're like good people on both sides type of thing. I mean, are we seeing a sort of the Southern Poverty Law Center was trying to create narratives using these types of groups to shape American public opinion?
Look, I think what the Southern Poverty Law Center has said over the years is available for the world to see. It's on their website. It's in other forums. The indictment speaks for itself. I'm not going to talk outside the four corners of the indictment. It lays out what the grand jury found, and obviously there's a whole body of public information around what the Southern Poverty Law Center has done over the past several decades.
Alex? I mean, in some of these instances, these are groups that have been either their membership has been dismantled or they've definitely fallen out of public view. I'm just wondering the legal theory of how, these payments allegedly went on to actually benefit the groups. Did you see the money go to the groups themselves rather than just the individuals who were paid informants, essentially? And then I have an off-topic after.
So look, I want to be careful to keep any comments that we make inside the indictment. And so what the indictment lays out is payments to individuals who had leadership positions within these organizations. If that's what the grand jury found. And so to the extent that those individuals receiving, one received over $1 million, okay, to the extent over several years, to the extent that there's any link between that individual receiving the money and benefits to that organization, that's not in the indictment, but because again, it's not that individual who's charged with a crime, it's that individual was a informant or what have you. And it's Southern Poverty Law Center that made those payments to the individual, but it wasn't, look, the payments were not made to these individuals in exchange for a service separate and apart from their work within these organizations. So, that's I think speaks for itself.
Just on an off topic, obviously you've read the Atlantic article that's now a subject of a defamation lawsuit brought by.
I absolutely did not read that article, but go ahead with your question.
I just, without, obviously it's in litigation now, have you separately just heard any concerns, given your supervision over the FBI director, about any problems with drinking?
I have a lot of concerns, and my concerns are completely around the anonymous reporting that comes forth constantly. That reporters have an obligation to report, and they have due diligence that they're supposed to do. And when an entire article is based on anonymous sources, and there's things in the article suggesting, for example, apparently that senior DOJ personnel were informed of something. That's me. I wasn't.
Mr. Acting Attorney General, can you explain again what the fraud is here exactly? Are you saying it's illegal for the SPLC to pay money to people that are in hate groups, or something about the way this was done makes it illegal? Because it's not automatically illegal, is it?
No, that's right. It's a good question. So, again, I summarized the indictment, and it's now public for everybody to read. But the Southern Poverty Law Center is a 501c3. Okay, they're required to, under the laws associated with a nonprofit, to have certain transparency and honesty in what they're telling donors they're going to spend money on, and what their mission statement is, and what they're raising money doing. And so, as the indictment points out, there's different ways that they raise money, and in no fundraising efforts that the investigation found did they say, oh, and by the way, we're going to give $1 million to the Ku Klux Klan. So that's fraud. So that's wire fraud. So, and then the bank fraud part of it is you have KYC. You have an obligation to tell your financial institution what the corporation or the entity that you're opening an account for does. And the allegations in the indictment are that these were fictitious companies that were set up, and so there was certain information sworn to by SPLC executives about what the entities were doing that we allege is false.
Can I just follow up on? Can I have one follow up, Mr.
Go ahead.
On the hiring of Joe DeGenova to work for the department, can you just tell us a little bit? I understand you went down to Florida.
Investigation was removed, and if you have or had concerns.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna read the indictment, cause I got the indictment. I'm just trying to see what these other people are saying. Let's go to I think Young Turks or Turks, whatever the fuck that name, your name is. They talked about it. Then I'm just gonna read the indictment, cause I'm not really getting nothing for real. Motherfuckers stealing. They probably close to Black Lives Matter. They probably scared to come down on them. So they come down on their subgroups.
You know, maybe at the beginning their reasoning was noble, and they've raised God knows how much money. We saw reports of who's giving them money. George Clooney gave him money. Tim Cook gave him $1 million. I think Chase gave him money. Soros was speculated to have given him money. And then you see the 2019 charity.
Why whenever they talk about George Soros, they never say anything definitive. Who the fuck is George Soros? Like, what is he, man? It's like you can only speak his name in private. Even like Trump and them, like they is scared to death to mention this man. But he supposed to be behind a lot of this shit that be going on with these left groups.
So leftist organization gave SPLC an F. Current Affairs gave SPLC an outright fraud that uses fear to cause leftists to write checks. Liberal death penalty abolitionist Stephen Bright, I think is his name, refused to take an award from SPLC. Said the SPLC has been run by a con man and a fraud. And then former SPLC employees in 2019 told the New Yorker that we were part of the con and we knew it. Like they knew they were doing this. What do you know about it, and why is this such a big deal of what happened?
Well, when I first saw the push notification that the SPLC was being indicted on felonies, multiple felonies.
Yes.
My first thought was, oh, come on. We have nothing better to do. And then I clicked on it and I read the article and I said, oh, shit, these are real crimes. Real crimes. The kind of crimes where they're documentary. You either did it or you didn't do it. And if they've got documentary evidence that they did it, this could be the end of the SPLC.
Literally.
I think it could be.
Well, so I'm watching the opposition to see what their argument is. You know, the current president reacted. I don't know if you saw his clip or not. He said, yeah, you know what? You know how they're spinning it? Here's what they're saying. They're saying this is so unfair because this was our way of paying informants to learn more about the organization.
I knew they were going to say
yeah, that's what they're saying.
Like journalists who buy one share of stock so that they can go to the stock.
I don't understand why they're paying this.
They're spinning it in a way to say, shame on them to do this. These are people that are doing great work. That was the guy who responded, claiming that's what they're doing in the past. So what do you think about that?
I think that is weak because what they're being accused of doing is giving money to the Ku Klux Klan, giving money to Nazi groups, laundering money. There are very clear laws, very specific laws about money laundering. You can't do it. You can't do it.
A lot of people launder money.
And so why launder it in the first place? Again,
you might be laundering
what the
money.
Justice Department is accusing them of doing is documented. And so they're going to have their day in court just like everybody else. And they can make that argument, certainly.
Yeah, I saw lists of Moms of Liberty was on that group. Right. I think we had the leader of Moms of Liberty on the podcast, Rob. If I'm not mistaken, she was phenomenal. They had TPUSA on that list. They had different groups, but they didn't have Antifa on that group. They didn't have, and even there's Rob, go to what's his name, Stossel. John Stossel. Can you go on YouTube and go to John Stossel? I want to give him credit on this. John Stossel has done a lot of work on SPLC. And just type in SPLC if you could. Just type in SPLC John Stossel, one from 2 years ago. That one right there. Go to about minute, and we'll give credit to John. If you want to go subscribe to his channel, Rob, let's make sure we put the link below as well. So if people want to go support him. So John Stossel, go about minute, keep going. I'll tell you, keep going, about minute 4. So keep going. No, that's not minute. That's minute 1. Keep going. Minute 4, Rob. Keep going. He's at okay right there. Press play. Watch what they find here. Go ahead.
Which is in offshore accounts, Caymans and places like that. How do you know? Oh, we look at their 990s.
Pause it right there.
The 990.
The 990 shows that they were taking money. Press play. It's going to show Cayman
Islands.
right there.
Now
So
the
they're
Southern Poverty Law Center calls groups that simply oppose sexually explicit content in schools anti-government extremists.
Damn.
Moms for Liberty.
Oh yeah, that's who they is. They're part of Black Lives Matter.
For America are on the hate map because they dare do things like seek school board seats to try to stop districts from disregarding opinions.
Now keep in mind, Stasso is not a Republican. He's a libertarian.
No, he's a libertarian.
He's a libertarian.
A well-known one.
A very well-known one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I appreciate Kenneth for the $20 cash.
I wonder what the positioning is going to be. I wonder who's going to come out defending them. How much money did they have in the account? I don't know why I saw they went from 50 million to 100 million to 200 million.
Oh my God.
What is the how much total money have they raised? What's the total amount of money? I don't know why I saw 720 million. Maybe that was have they total raised? They've raised a lot of money. Oh, there you go. Okay, total assets in 2024. Look at that. 786.7, and some reports noting it's 822. When I saw 720 million, I said they cannot be that powerful.
That is
their endowment was 822.
Shocking.
Look at the kind of power you have with that.
Yeah, that's they on some bullshit. With that type of money,
being able to build
with that type of money raised, you should be able to do some real, make some real changes in the community, man. We should have rec centers and everything, yo. Come on now, man. There should be rec centers in every motherfucking hood across America and every ghetto in America. Motherfucking parenting programs. Whole time they ain't doing shit. Shit is crazy. That's why I don't donate to none of these motherfuckers. Yo, when I give to the homeless, I give to the homeless. You understand what I'm saying? I give that shit directly to them. Like, I don't trust none of these organizations. And who the fuck donating to them? Have anybody ever donated to them? They ain't getting their money from the people.
Incredible. I gotta say also on the 990s, I was the king of the 990s at the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. The 990s will tell you everything you need to know about an organization that you're targeting. Because to keep themselves out of trouble, they admit to everything, thinking nobody's ever going to look at the 990s.
So you guys looked at the 990s.
Most organizations actually have it on their webpage. It's oftentimes hidden. There was only one time that I wanted to see a 990 that wasn't publicly available, and I just called the organization and I said, I'm the chief investigator from the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and I need to see your 990.
That's what I thought they was talking about.
Please don't.
I thought they talking about.
And I said, no, I'm going to swing by. I'll give you a day. I'm going to swing by and pick it up. And their 990 must have been 150 pages long. I had never seen one more than a page or two.
I know you'll fuck with
990. It was 150 pages long. I found nothing wrong with it, and I just dropped the investigation.
So the 990 is what? It's a document that most tax-exempt organizations file every year with the IRS. It tells the government and the public how the nonprofit operates financially.
Yeah, it's got everything. It's like the crown jewel of the
All right,
tax forms.
So let's get to the indictment. I got the indictment here. Let's read this indictment, see what the fuck going on. I just wanted to get an understanding of who they was, yo. And already I don't like them. You made that much motherfucking money, man. We should see that shit. We should be able to see that. And that's just in 2024 alone. Man, where the fuck the money at? Why the fuck that shit ain't hit the streets? That shit ain't touched the community. All right. How many pages is this? All right, it's only 14 pages. All right, bet. All right. It says the Southern Poverty Law Center stated mission include the dismantling of white supremacy and confronting hate across the country. However, unbeknownst to the donors, some of their donated money was being used to fund the leaders and organizers of racist groups including the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation, and the National Alliance. The SPLC's paid informants, called field sources, engaged in the active promotion of racist groups at the same time that the SPLC was denouncing the same groups on its website. The SPLC also had a field source who was a member of online leadership chat group that planned the 2017 Unite the Right event in Charlottesville. What? Fuck no, y'all. Fuck no, y'all. Y'all remember the Charlottesville shit, right? Where the guy drove through and killed all them people and shit? Yo, hell no. Yo, they ain't do that. They ain't do that. That's crazy. Do they got proof to back this up? Yeah, y'all remember that? I mean, let's go. Charlottesville attack. Y'all remember this shit?
We are learning more tonight about the man accused of driving his car into a crowd of people on Saturday. James Alex Fields Jr. is being depicted as a man fascinated with Nazism and holding deep and radical convictions on race. Correspondent Doug McElway in Charlottesville tonight, where Fields had his first court appearance today.
I have regrets. We lost 3 lives.
In a late afternoon press conference today, the Charlottesville police chief defended his officers' tactics of last Saturday morning as tensions and violence rose.
The city and county then made a declaration of local emergency. The crowd size became increasingly violent with mutually engaged combatants.
3 days later, Charlottesville is dealing with the legal aftermath.
We were trying to exercise our legal constitutional right.
As one lone self-described National Socialist shouted outside Charlottesville's General District Court, alleged murderer James Alex Fields Jr. made her first appearance via video from jail. He was dressed in a black and white striped uniform. He answered yes, sir, when asked if he understood the proceedings. The public defender's office was expected to represent Fields, but because a relative of a public defender was connected to Saturday's crash, the office refused. Now Fields will be represented by longtime Charlottesville attorney Charles Weber. Fields was known as a loner whose father died before he was born and was dismissed from the Army after failing to make it through boot camp. A high school teacher remembers his fascination with Hitler and National Socialism.
This kid, young kid, has very kind of white supremacist Nazi views. Really adores Hitler.
Yo, so they saying that the SPLC funded this group. Yo, hell no, man. Fuck no. Look. They got in slow motion. Yeah, like y'all remember he mowed down all them people? All right, so let's get back to the paperwork. Yo, that's fucking crazy. All right, so oh shit. So to say, the SPLC also had a field source who was a member of the online leadership chat group that helped plan the 2017 Unite the Right event in Charlottesville. That field source made racist postings under the supervision of SPLC and helped coordinate transportation to the event for several attendees. In order to covertly pay its field source, the SPLC opened bank accounts connected to a series of fictitious entities. The covert nature of the accounts allowed the SPLC to disguise the true nature, source, ownership, and control of the fraudulently obtained donated money. The SPLC paid the field sources in order to keep the scheme going. The SPLC made a series of false statements related to the operation of the accounts. Yo, why would they be paying? Like, all right, look. So let's go back to what the guy said, the guy that runs it. He said he was paying these people to prevent situations, but this didn't get prevented. Fuck that shit go at.
For 55 years, the Southern Poverty Law Center has stood as a beacon of hope, fighting white supremacy in various. In 1983, our offices were firebombed, and in the years since, there have been countless credible threats against our staff. For decades, we engaged in unprecedented litigation to dismantle the Klan and other hate groups. In light of that work, we sought to protect the safety of our staff and the public. We frequently shared what we learned from informants with local and federal law enforcement, including the FBI. We did not, however, share our use of informants broadly with anyone to protect the identity and safety of the informants and their families. And while we no longer work with paid informants, we continue to take their safety seriously. These individuals risked their lives to infiltrate and inform on the activities of our nation's most radical and violent extremist groups. When we began working with informants, we were living in the shadow of the height of the civil rights movement, which had seen bombings at churches.
All right, y'all. All right, so let's get back to the paperwork. The organization is a nonprofit tax-exempt organization headquarters in Montgomery, Alabama, which is located within the Middle District of Alabama. According to the site, the SPLC is a catalyst for racial justice in the South and beyond, working in partnership with communities to dismantle white supremacy, strengthen intersectional movements, and advance the human rights of all people. Red flag. It's red flag, y'all. Whenever you got a black group saying all people, I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Because all people don't never mention black people when they fighting. You understand what I'm saying? When other people is fighting, they don't never mention all people. But for some reason, whenever you got these black organizations that get all this money, it's always all people. Man, fuck out of here. I don't think we got time to be worried about all people. All people don't be worried about us. The fuck? If all people was worried about us as a whole in our community, we'd be in a much better space. Straight up, man. You already know. To carry out this mission, the SPLC relied in part on public and coordinated corporate donations. As the SPLC explained on its website, with your help, we're standing up for the most vulnerable people in society, those who have no other champion. We're exposing hate and injustice, fighting discrimination, and providing award-winning anti-racist material free of charge to schools across America. I'm wondering if any schools can vouch. We never take legal fees from our clients, and we accept no government funding. Rather, we rely on the compassion and generosity of people like you. The SPLC website also explains to potential donors that your support powers our work to confront hate, stand up to injustice, and defend our civil and human rights. From the courtroom to the classroom to the communities across the country, you can help create a more just and inclusive future for all. These donations were used in part to fund various publications such as the Intelligence Report, Hate Watch, and the Intelligence Project Dispatch. The Intelligence Report was a magazine periodically published by the staff of Southern Poverty Law Center, Intelligence Project, and provided free of charge to law enforcement officials, journalists, scholars, and others. Hate Watch was a blog operated by the SPLC that monitors and exposes activities of the hard right in the United States. Blog topics included reporting on hate crimes and events, hate groups and individuals, and lawsuits related to these topics, providing By providing SPLC with an email address, a person could receive the latest update from Hate Watch. The Intelligence Project Dispatch was a monthly online publication issued by the Hate Watch staff that monitors and exposes white supremacy and its impact on all communities. The head at the top of the publication further explains to the readers that the Southern Poverty Law Center works to dismantle white supremacy in public forums and online, expose hate and anti-democracy extremism, and counters disinformation and conspiracy theories with research and community resources. The top banner SPLC website had a link for public donations. By clicking the donate button, potential donors were brought to a website that explained how to donate money to the SPLC. This page also informed donors that with your support, the SPLC Actions Fund will pursue a bold action agenda to confront our country's most urgent challenges. Did they ever do that? Together, we will uplift progressive candidates to uphold inclusive democratic values while investigating and exposing candidates using hate and extremism to gain power. The SPLC Paid Informants Network, the Fs, starting in the 1980s. Oh, so they've been around for a while. The SPLC began operating a covert network of informants who were either associated with violent extremist groups such as the Ku Klux Klan or had infiltrated violent extremist groups at the SPLC's direction. These informants were referred to by some individuals within the SPLC as field sources, or the Fs. Between at least 2014 and 2023, the SPLC paid their Fs in a clandestine manner. Doing so hid the fact that while the SPLC received donation money under the auspices that the funds would be used to dismantle violent extremist groups, this donation money was instead being used in part by the SPLC to pay leaders and others within these same violent extremist groups. That money was then used for benefit of the individuals as well as violent extremist groups. Between 2014 and 2023, the SPLC secretly funneled more than $3 million to SPLC's funds to Fs who were associated with various violent extremist groups. $3 million. God damn. Examples of Fs who are secretly paid by the SPLC included but not limited to the following. What the fuck did they pay? Let's find out. F37 was a member of the online leadership chat group that planned the 2017 Unite the Right event in Charlottesville, Virginia, and attended the event at the direction of SPLC. The F-37 made racist postings under the supervision of the SPLC and helped coordinate transportation to the event for several... so they helped fueling it. The fuck type of shit? These motherfuckers is crazy, man. These motherfuckers crazy. Y'all fighting hate by pushing hate. How the fuck is y'all fighting hate by pushing hate? Like, I can see if he was just monitoring what was going on. But he was making racist posting. He went to the event. Like, no, yo, that's not what informants supposed to be doing, y'all. Like, what the fuck type of informant work is that? You like the motherfucking informants that was a part of fucking the Black Panther Party. But y'all don't have arresting power. So I don't understand. That's why I say, why y'all got informants? It ain't like y'all got power to get in these organizations and then make arrests. You can't make no arrests. That's what look like. They push it so they can fight it, right? F-37 made racist postings under the supervision of the SPLC and helped coordinate transportation to the event for several attendees. Then he fucking took people there. Between 2015 and 2023, the SPLC secretly paid F-37 more than $270,000. Dang. The fuck that is? $270,000 divided by 8. No, that's not right. Oh no, I fucked it up. 270,000 divided by 8. So he paid him $33,000 a year to be a motherfucking informant. That's the hell of a motherfucking side hustle. If he had a real job and did that shit on the side, what the fuck? These niggas is crazy. All right. F9 was affiliated with the neo-Nazi organization, the National Alliance, and served as F for the SPLC for more than 20 years. God damn. F9 activities included fundraising for the National Alliance between 2014 and 2023. The SPLC secretly paid F9 more than $1 million. In 2014, F9 entered the headquarters of a violent extremist group and stole 25 boxes of their documents. F9 coordinated payments for the copying of the material with a high-level SPLC employee who had acknowledged that the documents had been stolen. Y'all, this is some Democratic Republican type shit. These motherfuckers ain't doing this on the behalf of black people. That's what this is, yo. This is a left versus right type of situation. Y'all gaining intel about politics. Y'all wasn't doing so. That's why they said he was defrauding donors and misleading the public. They presented this like y'all was doing this for the betterment of the people. Man, fuck no, y'all was doing this shit for votes. Yeah, man, that's what the fuck this was. That's what this was, man. That's exactly what this was. Cause why y'all like? How is this benefiting black people or all people? You know, if you listen to what they say. Therefore, the high-level SPLC employee utilized the documents in part as a basis for a story published on the SPLC's Hate Watch website and authored by the employee. Another F39 was blamed for theft and was paid approximately $6,000 by the SPLC to falsely take responsibility for the theft. What the fuck? F Unknown was the Imperial Wizard of the United States Clan of America. In an article published on November 22nd, 13, the SPLC described the group as a millennial reboot of what was once a serious domestic threat. In its prime, the United States Klans of America was responsible for, among other things, the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in Birmingham, Alabama, which resulted in the deaths of 4 little girls in 1963. F-27 was reported as an officer in the National Socialist Movement and the Aryan Nations affiliated Sadistic Soul Motorcycle Club between 2014 and 2020. The SPLC secretly paid F-27 more than $300,000. That ain't had a bunch of informants. F-42 was the former chairman of the National Alliance. The chairman? God damn. The motherfuckers, how the fuck they get the chairman on their side? Jesus Christ. Yeah, yo, this is politics right here, y'all. This politics, man. That's all this is. This politics. The SPLC website contained an extremist file webpage about F-42, from which the SPLC solicited donations. Between 2016 and 2023, the SPLC secretly paid F-42 more than $140,000. God, they just throwing money all over the place. Hold the fuck up, y'all. How much money they gave these niggas? You got $1 million. Somebody got 270,000. Oh, all right. So $3 million altogether. You got $1 million. You got 300,000. He got 140,000. and somebody had 170,000. This overlapped the time period in which F-24 was featured on SPLC's Extremist File webpage. F-30 led the National Socialist Party of America, was the former director of a faction of the Aryan Nation, and a former member of the Ku Klux Klan. God damn, he racist as a bitch. The SPLC website contained an Extremist File webpage for F-30, from which, so they was paying these niggas and putting them on their page as somebody you need to watch. Yo, get the fuck out of here, y'all. Man, get the fuck out of here, y'all. Hey, yo, no, y'all, we got it. No, fuck that. We need to see some proof of this shit. So they was paying these niggas and then put them on their page like this guy's an extremist. Watch him. But they was paying them the whole time. Nah, y'all. Fuck no. Ain't no way. Yo, that's crazy. Ain't that what that say? They had an extremist file on the webpage. He was featured on there. What the fuck? F-43 was reported National President of America front and a convicted federal felon for his participation in a cross burning between 2016 and 2019. The SPLC secretly paid F-43 more than $19,000. F Unknown was a member of the Ku Klux Klan and married to an exalted cyclops of the Ku Klux Klan. F Unknown and their spouse were involved in litigation whereby the Ku Klux Klan applied to take part in the Adopt a Highway program. During the course of this litigation, known payments were traced from the SPLC to F Unknown, which exceeded $3,500. In addition to directly paying leaders and others associated with the same violence extremist group, the SPLC sought donations ostensibly to dismantle the SPLC, to the SPLC, also used Fs to indirectly funnel money to other violent extremist groups. This included the SPLC funneling more than $160,000 from a fictitious entity to F-11, who then sent funds to various violent extremist group leaders, including the former Grand Wizard of the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. So they can't even trace that shit. They was going through desperate measures to get this money out to these shit. They could have gave me that shit for free. Yeah, man, just for being black. The fuck? Yeah, man. They could have threw me a little piece of that for being black. I'd have took that, you know. These could have made a difference. The fuck is this shit doing? This shit ain't helping nobody. Yeah, this was all political, man. Dirty motherfuckers. That's crazy. To secretly funnel donated money to the Fs, individuals at the SPLC, including a person who will become the chief financial officer, employee 1, and a person who would become the director of intelligence project, employee 2, among others, opened a series of bank accounts at Bank 1 and Bank 2 in the name of various fictitious entities, including but not limited to the following: Center Investigation Agency, the CIA, Fox Photography, Northwest Technologies, Tech Writers Groups, Rare Books Warehouse. These fictitious entities were never incorporated, had no bona fide employees, and conducted no actual business at all. At all times relevant to this indictment, Bank 1 and Bank 2 were issued by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC. Man, these motherfuckers is crazy, man. That's crazy. The facts set out in paragraph 1 through 16 are fully incorporated in these counts, beginning in or about 2014 and continuing through at least 2023. In the Middle District of Alabama, the defendant, Southern Poverty Law Center, devised and intended to devise a scheme and to artifice to defraud donors and attempted to do so, and to obtain money properly belonging to donors by materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, promises, and omissions. Damn. Mm-mm-mm. That's crazy. The objective of these schemes in artifice was to obtain money via donations through materially false representations and omissions about what the donated funds would be used for. To carry out this scheme in artifice, the SPLC explicitly sought donations under the auspices that donors, the donors' money will be used to help dismantle violent extremist groups. In the SPLC's solicitation for donations, as outlined herein, donors was not told that some of the donated funds would be used by the SPLC to pay high-level leaders of violent extremist groups and others, nor were donors ever told that some of the donated funds were be used for the benefit of the violent extremist groups, or that some of the donated funds would be used in commission of state and federal crimes. Right, because you gotta remember, one of the guys that was in charge of that was part of the chat group, he took people to the protest. I'm sure he had to use some gas money or a car that was probably paid for by them niggas to get there. I think this is a part of Black Lives Matter movement, bro. I think they scared to go out to Black Lives Matter. I think all these motherfuckers are part of black. This is all part of the same shit. Black Lives Matter got some powerful people behind them. This is probably just an offspring of that. Yeah, they got on a wide transaction and an amount of approximately $4,750 from the SPLC operated bank account at Bank One to a First Citizen Bank account controlled by F9. That they got wire transfers and all that. Oh yeah, wire transaction and amount. Oh yeah, they got them niggas. They done. They ready to shut this. They ready to shut them down. They probably ain't gonna lock nobody up. They ready to shut them down. They ready to kick out a lot of that money. Count 7 through 10. These are fake accounts. In 2020, Bank One conducted an internal investigation of these accounts. Thereafter, an SPLC employee requested that Bank One close the accounts associated with the CIA, Fox Photography, Northwest Tech, and Tech Rights, and transfer the remaining balance of these accounts to a Bank One account ending in 6050 held in the name of SPLC. In response to Bank One's internal investigation, on or about September 9th, 2021, the President and Chief Executive Officer of SPLC, as well as the Board Chair of SPLC, admitted the following in writing to the bank. Pursuant to the discussion we had earlier this week, please let this correspondence serve as a confirmation that the accounts listed below were open for the benefit of the Southern Poverty Law Center operation and operated under the Center's authority. The following accounts listed below. Man, said hella accounts. God damn. J&J Electronics. They go get the fuck out of here. Text Writers Group. Northwest Technologies. They all do this shit. They all do this type shit though. Money laundering. Wire fraud. Damn. It's crazy, yo. That's why you can't trust these motherfuckers, man. I don't trust none of them groups. None of them. That's crazy. So what the fuck happened with Donald Trump, man? Trump trying to get the people back on his side. That man losing his stain. They trying anything. Shawnee! What's up, baby?
Welcome to Wix Harmony. Take the speed of AI.
Yo, that's crazy, y'all. That was a wild situation.
Tom, but it was very sudden. The night turned rather dramatically. And again, right now we're waiting.
Association from CBS News, Weijia Zhang.
So this happened live?
The headliner for this evening, mentalist owes her...
So what happened? Oh my God. So did it happen yet? Alright, so this is the White House correspondent dinner. We ready to see what happened. Donald Trump funny looking ass right here. You can tell him from a mile away. That's J.D. Vance right there. He probably nasty as shit. Alright, that's the way it happened now. Is that Erica Kirk? It's not Erica Kirk, is it? Alright. Here you go right here. Here you go right here. Well, how the fuck did she get so close to the president, man? Oh shit. Nigga, you ain't hear that shit? Man, get the fuck out of here, bro. Yeah, ain't no way that them shots just went off and and he ain't hear that shit. Look at that shit, y'all. Look at this. Man, I don't know. None of them heard that. None of them heard that shit. That's crazy. Ain't no way. Yo, come on now. Nah, that was staged. Yo, the Secret Service did if that was real, Trump would have been dead, man. Yo, they did a horrible job. Like I would fire every single one of them. Their response time was on 0. Man, they would have been dead, man. I don't know. I don't know about this bogus. It is taking forever. Nah, y'all.
We will have more details to share. Also, take it to the White House or
Fashion that will be. We're expecting some sort of announcement from the, but we actually don't know.
Man, get the fuck out
We're
of
trying
here,
to sort
man.
that all out, Jessica.
Right, Gabe. Our last information was he was headed back to the White House. Unclear if he did make it to the White House or whether he will be returning to the dinner, since you say that you were just told that it is continuing. Stand by one second for us, Gabe. We're going to try to listen in here. I know everyone's going to want as many details as possible, and right now we don't have that, but I can tell you that our program is going to resume momentarily.
Get the fuck out of here.
We will.
Ain't no way. They heard guns. These are people that's not accustomed to gunshots going off. We just heard gunshots, and we gonna continue the program, and they clapping. Man, get the fuck out of here, man. Now, if that was a group of black people from the urban environment, yeah, fuck that shit. The fucking party must go on, but not these people. Fuck no. They're gonna be rattled. You feel me?
We'll have more details to share also momentarily, but for now, please just be patient as we figure out just how much time it will be, but it shouldn't be that much longer. Thank you very much. Thank you. Gabe, this is just such an extraordinary moment where you have all of the nation's top press gathered in one place for such an event to have happened. You said that witnesses described the sound as seeming to be gunshots coming from the room above the ballroom. Did you hear those sounds as well?
No, I did not. It was a very calm. It was the dinner was proceeding as usual. Again, it was during the salad course. People were having conversation. Lija Jang, who you just heard from, CBS News, the president of the White House Correspondents Association, had just given brief remarks. And the room seemed to be looking forward to hearing from the president. Several high-ranking officials, including the vice president, and other cabinet level officials were in the room. The press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, also was introduced, along, of course, with the president and the first lady. And there was a sense that this was a rare instance.
I have so many guests staying here all the time.
watched another crowd of journalists and others clearly exiting the hotel. So they were in the military-looking garb with heavy guns, as Ryan mentioned. The first time you feel like they might be ready.
We love them. The front doors, the entrance to that ballroom, and when Secret Service came rushing in. Ryan, I do want to talk to you about sort of the bit of chaos and why it was such a terrifying scene for the people inside the ballroom, because the bit of chaos and
was supposed to bring together
from the pool feeds that were in.
And that was very unexpected, but incredibly acted upon by Secret Service and law enforcement. And this was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did, because the fact that they just unified, I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way a very beautiful thing to see. A man charged a security checkpoint armed with multiple weapons.
No, so hold on.
And he was
hold on, y'all. Hold the fuck on.
Taken down by some very brave members of Secret.
So who is this guy, y'all? These motherfuckers. Yeah, they think we stupid.
And that was very unexpected.
Yeah, they getting out of control with it.
Incredibly acted upon by Secret Service and law enforcement. And this was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did, because the fact that they just unified, I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way a very beautiful thing to see. A man charged a security checkpoint armed with multiple weapons, and he was taken down by some very brave members of Secret Service, and they acted very quickly and have just released, for purposes of transparency, clarity, I've ordered it to be put out. You probably have it by now. Put out on Truth and put out on many of the platforms. A tape showing the violence of this thug that attacked our Constitution, and also showing how quickly Secret Service and law enforcement acted on our country's behalf. Really did a great job. One officer was shot, but saved by the fact that he was wearing obviously a very good bulletproof vest. He was shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun.
Get the fuck out. Yeah, this is
the
crazy,
vest did the
yo.
job. I just spoke to the officer and he's doing great. He's in great shape.
Yo,
He
they
is,
playing, man.
has very high spirits, and we told him we love him and respect him.
Yeah,
He's a very proud guy. He's very proud of what he does, Secret Service agent. And we looked at all of the conditions that took place tonight, and I will say, you know, it's not a particularly secure building. And I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone-proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom. That's why.
This was the cosign of ballroom. Yo think he's slick. This is why we need the ballroom, y'all. Yo, I thought I was doing it for me, but I'm really doing it for us. Get the fuck out of here. Trump crazy as shit.
Secret Service, that's why the military are demanding it. They've wanted the ballroom for 150 years for lots of different reasons, but today's a little bit different because today we need levels of security that probably nobody's ever seen before. But everyone owes a tremendous debt of gratitude to the courage of law enforcement, the law enforcement, and working with the D.C. police. And we just spoke with the mayor. And when we're finished, the police chief is going to take over and discuss it also from their viewpoint. But they also performed exactly as they were supposed to. And you see the attacker in different positions, but you also see the attacker totally subdued and under control.
So as you know, this is not the first time in the past couple of years that our republic has been attacked by a would-be assassin who sought to kill. In Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago, you all know that story. And in Palm Beach, Florida, a few months after that, we came close. We really had, again, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to resolve our differences. I will say, you had Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Conservatives, liberals, and progressives.
Hold the fuck up. Yo, that wasn't him, was it? Yeah, they ain't trying to put that on the black man, is he?
Subdued and under control. So as you know, this is not the first time in the past couple of years that our republic has been attacked by...
Oh, hey, man, he ain't got no shape up. He ain't do that shit. Fuck that. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Man, he just stuck out like a sore thumb as soon as he walked in that bitch. Right, come on, bro. Not this nigga. Ain't no way. Where's his shirt at? They stripped him? The fuck out. Hey, what the fuck they stripped him to take the picture?
Would-be assassin who sought to kill. And
yeah,
Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago, you all know that story. And in Palm Beach, Florida, a few months after that, we came close. We really had, again, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their
hearts. Man, look, man, we got something for you, man. I know you don't want to go to jail for this, but we got something for you. We got a role for you to play. Get the fuck out of here. Ain't no fucking way.
In resolving our difference peacefully, we have to resolve our differences. I will say, you had Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Conservatives, liberals, and progressives. Those words are interchangeable, perhaps, but maybe they're not. But yet everybody in that room, big crowd, record-setting crowd. There was a record-setting group of people. And there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched, and I was very,
how the fuck do he got a speech prepared? Yeah, how the fuck do you have a speech prepared? Yo, get the fuck out of here, Trump. Ain't nobody falling for this shit, bro. Might have got us the last 2 times, but no, ain't nobody falling for this one. Fuck that.
Impressed by that. But we were, First Lady and I were taken very well care of very quickly rushed off the stage. Vice President J.D. Vance, who's here, was likewise beautifully done. He was just saying how quickly everybody acted, law enforcement, Secret Service in particular in this case, but law enforcement. Marco had the same thing. Pete was there. Pete didn't want any help. He didn't want anybody to help him. He doesn't want anybody to help him, but he did get some, didn't you? And I think you also said that it was very impressive. So with that, I'd like to ask Todd Blanche to come up, say a few words, and tell you it's already underway. The man has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California.
Good job.
And he's a sick person, a very sick person.
Good job, buddy.
And we don't want things like this to happen. I think it's very important that I say, though, and I told the representatives of the evening, they did such a beautiful job. It was such a beautiful evening. And again, they're talking about free speech in our Constitution. That's what it's all about, not just White House correspondence. It was really based on free speech in our Constitution. But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved. I also want to thank the press, the media. You've been very responsible in your coverage. I will say I've been seeing what's been out, and you've been very responsible. So Todd Blanche, I'd like to say a few words, and then we're going to have cash. And then you're going to go on. We can ask, I guess we can take a couple of questions. I want to thank the First Lady that was a rather traumatic experience for her. There's a lot of action taking place up there very quickly. But again, the response time was really incredible.
Yeah, we ain't far for
we're
that,
going
man.
to reschedule. We're going to do it again.
We ain't
We're
far
not
for
going to
that,
let
Steve.
anybody take over our society. We're not going to cancel things out because we can't do that. We wanted to stay tonight. I will tell you, I fought like hell to stay.
I bet the fuck you
But
did.
it was protocol. They said, please, sir.
He ain't want to be there. That's all this was about, y'all. He wanted to promote the ballroom, and he ain't really want to be there. He's like, how the fuck can I get out this shit? They said, you know what we can do? We can stage a shooting. You know, we got this guy that got a lot of 400 keys. You know, he ain't trying to go to jail. Yeah, man. He ain't trying to go to jail, man. He said he'd do that shit. He'd be the fall guy. Now he can't stay. Get the fuck out of here.
No, there was a lot of action going on, and they didn't know could there be probably a lone shooter, but we'll find out. We'll find out very quickly. They have it very well under control. So I want to thank everybody very much, and Todd Blanche, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Tonight you saw the very worst and the very best of this country.
Hey, yo, this
you
is
saw the
crazy,
very worst
yo.
by the actions of that coward that the president just talked about.
Yeah, I can't
But you
believe
also
they
saw
doing
the
this.
very best because you saw law enforcement do exactly what they're supposed to do. And you'll see the videos come out, I expect very...
Look like to me they took a hell of a long time. They did not do that. Yo, if that was a real threat, everybody in that room would have died, man. They took too long. My guys could have, you know, we could have got that shit together quicker than that. Like, what the fuck you talking about? We ain't got no training. I mean,
shortly, and you'll see law enforcement do exactly what we want them to do. And so I echo what President Trump just said, that we are extraordinarily grateful and appreciative of the men and women of law enforcement that did their jobs tonight, including one who was injured. This investigation is ongoing. I expect you will see charges filed shortly. The charges should be self-evident given the conduct, but as you'll hear, there will be multiple charges surrounding the shooting, around the possession of firearms, and anything else that we can get on this guy. The investigation is obviously ongoing and just started. There is federal law enforcement already working on search warrants and doing their job. I don't want to get ahead of them and don't want to get ahead of the work that they're doing even as we speak. Director Patel and I were just on the crime scene a short while ago, and everybody in this room should rest assured that the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, Secret Service, everybody's on the scene doing their job. I know that the police chief is going to give an update from the scene as soon as we're finished here, and I obviously will lead the details of what they have learned to him. But in the meantime, I just want to thank everybody in this room for the courage. And I want to thank President Trump for his words, and I promise you, justice will be served. Thank you, Director Patel.
Thank you, General. Thank you, Mr. President. The President's absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr. President, inspire them 24/7, 365. You give them the resources that they need, and they know that you have their back. And that is a changing dynamic in this country, and that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect, and safeguard the lives of thousands of individuals at that hotel. Thanks to our interagency partnership with the Department of Homeland Security and the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI was rapidly deployed onto the scene, took over the evidence response unit, is examining all the ballistics that were found on scene to include the long gun and the shell casings. We are conducting witness interviews as we speak. You will hear from our team on the scene there with the mayor and the head of the FBI field division there. But please know what the Attorney General has just said reigns no truer. You saw the very best of America tonight. The very best unite us at a time of uncertainty because we have leadership here with the President, the Vice President that backs law enforcement, and the men and women that I shook their hands on the scene today could not have been prouder to show up on scene. And as the Attorney General said, make no mistake, we are conducting witness interviews. If you have any information whatsoever related to this event, 1-800-CALL-FBI. 1-800-CALL-FBI. No piece of information is too small. No piece of information is inadequate. We will evaluate it all. We will also be conducting interviews of those that were there. And if any of those individuals have information, please come forward to law enforcement or the FBI or the Metropolitan Police Department. We will be examining this individual's background thoroughly. That process has already started, and we are going to ensure that he was either a lone wolf actor or anyone else that was responsible. We will analyze all evidence immediately to make sure that we safeguard this country. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, thank you for your leadership. Attorney General and Homeland Secretary Merlin, thank you for your partnership in law enforcement.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do a couple and then we go to the chair. Madam Chairman. I just want to say you did a fantastic job. What a beautiful evening, and we're going to reschedule. And after that, it's very tough for her to ask a killer question, right? But you have done a fantastic job. Please.
Mr. President, I appreciate it. As you mentioned, it all happened so quickly. Yeah. And I wonder, especially because fortunately you have experience with these sorts of threats, in that moment when you realized there was a threat and service agents were telling us to get down, can you describe what was going through your mind, how you were feeling in that moment?
Hey, yo, get the fuck out of here, yo. Come on now. Yo, come on, y'all. Ain't no way. Yo, ain't no way she asked him that, yo. No, just, it was high. It was a lot of emotions, you know, just, you know, what was going through your mind at the time? Like, what the fuck? Yo, this is not real life, yo. Now, this gotta be like a similar, like, this is not real. Ain't no way. Yo, ain't no way they think we this fucking stupid. Like, y'all think they really think that? Like, ain't no way they think we this fucking stupid, yo. Like, this was disrespectful to the people, man. Like, yo, for real though, right? Like, he just got drafted like it's draft night or something. You feel me? You know how you feel, man? You just got drafted to your childhood team, you know, take us through those take me through those emotions, you know, from start to finish, you know. I just want to know the process. Like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Like, get the fuck. Hey, yo, fuck out of here, yo. It was just a bad experience. Like, I know you got experience in, you know, your life being in danger. So it should come off as nothing, you know, but for the sake of conversation, now how do you really feel? Man, get out of here. We not falling for this truck. You gotta do a better job next time, yo. You should at least made him an immigrant. I mean, if he was an immigrant, we still would have questioned it, but we'd be like, all right, he had been giving them niggas a hard time. You know, maybe one of them motherfuckers did decide, you know, to throw it all away. Yeah, but get the fuck out of here. We not falling for this.
That's a very good question, actually. It's always shocking when something like this happens. Happened to me a little bit, and that never changes. The fact, we were sitting right next to each other, the First Lady on my right, and I heard a noise and sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down. You know, I've heard that many times, and it was a pretty loud noise. And it was from quite far away. He hadn't breached the area at all. They really got him. But, so it was quite far away, but it was a gun. And some people really understood that pretty quickly. Other people didn't. I was watching to see what was happening. Probably should have gone down even faster. Melania was very cognizant, I think, of what happened. I think she knew immediately what happened. She was saying, it's a bad noise. And we were whisked away along with other people, but we were really whisked away. And again, the performance of the Secret Service and the police, all of the law enforcement, I thought it was really good. So it was very quick. There wasn't a lot of time to be thinking, because it was a matter of seconds before we were out the door and gone into an area. We very much, and you wanted to too, we very much wanted to continue it, because I don't like to let these sick people, these thugs, these horrible, horrible people, change the fabric of our life, change the course of what we do. So we held out. You were there. We held out. We want to take a chance, and I understand there was protocol. But we're going to be doing one hopefully within the next 30 days or sooner. And I am ready, willing, and able. And I was all set to really rip it. And I said to my people, this would be the most inappropriate speech ever made if I said one. So I'll have to save it. I don't know if I could ever be as rough as I was going to be tonight. I think I'm going to be probably very nice. I'll be very boring the next time, but we're going to have a great event. And you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. There's a report in the New York Post that this assailant assembled his weapon somewhere on site at the hotel.
What the fuck? Yo, how long ago was this? Is already New York Post reports coming out? Like, I'm done, yo. I'm gonna let him answer his last question. Yo, we just gonna end it after this. Like, yo, this is out of control.
What do you think about that? And I ask respectfully, why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Well, you know, I've studied assassinations.
Oh my God. Now
I must tell you, the most impactful.
Now he's a fucking scholar on assassinations. The book on assassinations. Like, yo, get the yo, go, yo, this is crazy. Yo, I swear, yo, this is wild. This is wild.
People, the people that do the most. You take a look at the people, Abraham Lincoln. I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this, where they got them. But the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way. And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Just take a look at the names there, the big names. And I hate to say I'm honored by that, but I've done a lot. We've done a lot. We have
That's what he said.
We've taken this country, and we were a laughing stock for years, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've changed this country, and there are a lot of people that are not happy about that. So I think that's the answer, Peter.
And after Butler, your team for a while rethought outdoor events.
Yeah.
Do you think that you now need to rethink indoor?
Well, but then you just don't do events. No, I can't do that. I have to. It is what it is. We have to do
Fuck
it.
them events.
The room
Fuck
was
them.
very, very secure.
Indoor,
He
outdoor,
charged from 50 yards
underground.
away, so he was very far away from the room.
Maybe you gotta start doing underground events. You feel me? Like, indoor ain't working. Outdoors out the question. You might need to go underground, man. You know what I mean? Underground events is probably gonna be the future of the United States.
I think when you saw the video of how fast
Had a business in a bunker
He
or
was
something.
moving. He was really moving. And the reaction time was great. Boy, those guys, they had their guns drawn. Literally, by the time he was there, they were shooting.
That's right.
I thought they were very impressive. And if I didn't, I'd let you know. I'm not going to be, I would not stand for that. No, I thought they were very impressive.
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for updating us on the suspect earlier. Were you aware of any threats? Was your team aware of any threats beforehand? And do you believe you were the target of this tonight?
I guess. I mean, these people, they're crazy. They're crazy, and you never know. He was very far away from me. He had to go through a lot. We had resources all over. We had resources sitting at tables, literally in disguise, sitting maybe at your table, who knows? But we had people all over the room, so he had a long way to go. That was really a first line of defense, and they got him. And they really, they acted incredibly.
Who the fuck was the intended target of this, man? Because it don't seem to me that Trump was the target. What, he just wanted to shoot an officer? Yo, get the fuck. I'm done. I ain't watching this shit no more. Yo. I feel like I'm being played on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good on that. Like, fuck that shit. I don't even want to hear no more. Yeah, man. Salute to them boys, man. I'm done with that shit. These niggas is crazy. Yo, make sure y'all hit that like button, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel if you new. And I'm out, man.